and contribute
Yes.
and talk nice about me. They say, give me cash now, buy me another bottle.
Yes.
I want to enjoy.
Yes, yeah.
And I don't want to be part of a family that only celebrates my death. Which again, for some people it's confusing. How do you celebrate when my loved one is gone?
Yeah.
So, in fact, that means some people never get celebrated.
Okay.
Yet, I think we ought to have that culture where we celebrate. I've met some people, they've never gotten an Easter card, no Christmas card, no birthday party. They're simply living. And I think that's not the way God created. And on the other side, unfortunately, these people have known anger, which reminds me, there's this proverb that is written here in Proverbs chapter 27, says, anger is cruel and fury overwhelming. All right? It says, but who can stand before jealousy? So it's anger, fury, jealousy.
Yeah.
And some of us have lived in that. We are jealous from the beginning, and some people have grown their jealousy with their co-wife, co-husband, co-brother, co-whatever, and so that is what is eating the family. And daddy and mommy, when they best express themselves, they best express anger and fury. When they're angry, they break cups, they call you names, they curse your mother, they curse your father, they curse your grandfather, and that's what we've grown up with. So some people even drink so that they can even make it more
dramatic.
Yes. But here is something that goes on to say in verse 5, it says, better is open rebuke than hidden love. And when I think about that, it tells me that love can be there but hidden. And it's not good to have hidden love. I don't want to live in simply being rebuked all the time. Show me some love. And that's why I say families need to get to a place where we say we're going to celebrate not the life of the late so and so. We want to celebrate this person.
Yeah.
All right. And I want you to celebrate me as Joshua. I want you to celebrate me as Eddie. Celebrate my wife, which indeed we're looking for a big party in my house very soon, in this month of March. And it's something that is wonderful. Okay. So, and I know some people have criticized some people when their children go to school, nursery school, first day they celebrate. The day they graduate, they put on grounds from nursery. So I don't know who celebrates that.
Graduation in nursery school.
Yes. But you see, that culture of celebrating, making this little child feel happy and joyful is a key principle. And so my view, when I say let's celebrate, let's put this person on a poster, if to be possible, and write great, amazing things. Not just even write, say it, say it, say it. I know some people say, I don't want to tell a lie. If this person does not
doesn't qualify
me up, yes, they don't tune you up, but you must choose a day where you say, today we're forgetting everything else, it's party time. And I will tell you, families that party more than others are usually happier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pastor, how do you start to celebrate somebody when you have not been celebrated? When you never received the celebration? When your entire setup going up from birth to whatever time you've reached, that love, that language was never yours.
Yeah.
And here you are, we're telling you, celebrate, celebrate. For you, your language of celebration is very different.
Yeah.
It may not be very expressed, openly expressed rather, or an open expression of it does not suffice in your way. But you express in a different way. And the modus operandi of that expression, as given, is always show love by flowers or by, cards. And for you simply don't know how to write these things by card. What you know to do is I am there whenever you need me at any given time. How do you deal with that? Okay.
The fact of life is there are different ways that make us feel happy and celebrated. One usually surpasses the other, but we all need somebody who will tell you, you're amazing. Not because you've climbed Mount Kilimanjaro and Mount Elgon, all right, which you can give, if given a push, but you want to know somebody says, I value you because you indeed are valuable. There's something amazing about you as an individual. And we want to promote that every day of our lives, because we have enough anger, we have enough fury. I mean, any simple person can get angry, right? Any simple person can show their fury, can show their madness, and they say twako, and any simple person can do that. But we must learn to say, and I think we train ourselves.
Okay.
I mean, some things you may not have known them, but you can train yourself. You can learn. I remember one day this happened to me. Somebody sent me 4 foolscaps of abuses.
What had you done?
I seemed to be friendly to a person that they thought should have been only a friend to them.
Okay.
And so they thought they must give me some beat. So I read this. At first I was so angry, so disturbed. But I said, wow, I think I should take this as a medal. Because one of the outstanding statements that, or label they put on me was, in the presence of an orangutan, the orangutan would feel handsome. That was breaking the record of ugliness.
Yes.
Isn't that so amazing?
Yeah.
But I thought, okay, this person has a dictionary of all the bad terms to use on me. I thought, I think I should reverse that. I should teach myself to have 20 foolscaps on how to affirm people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you ever write this?
I have many words of affirmation that I've learned and I'm keeping learning. And then I also landed, I think, on a foolscap, 100 ways to affirm your child. All right? Okay. You're amazing, you're great, you are super, way to go, and the rest. I need to remind myself of all these different things. So you want to make that part of your daily language.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is the Family Talk Show. And on the Family Talk Show, we discuss issues that affect families day, night, morning, evening, afternoon. And these things are real life situations. But there are challenges that affect families, and there are challenges that families go through. What are you doing to get your family out of that challenge? And today on this topic, which is very interesting, Pastor has just taken us through 11 minutes or 12 minutes of it, of just trying to make sure we understand. If you have not received it, how are you giving it back? I want to put that topic up one more time, and we'll ask Pastor one more question just before we take a break. Pastor, you have talked about how to receive it when you have not received. You talked about giving cards now, and you've also answered the question of cards or no cards, you can still do. Love must be celebrated demands an active love language every single day, and that celebration cannot be very easy for most people. I have a question for you, Pastor, and the question is very simple. Women often demand for more from men than a man can offer. And their love language for celebration is totally very different, we are told. But we are struggling with many books written by many love experts that simply seems to affirm that this is what the ladies want, this is what the ladies want. And men out there are struggling to say, but it looks like it's about women. And they don't understand what men are going through. One, I have a lot to do. The responsibility to guide the families with me. Number two, the responsibility for me to spend a lot more money than everyone in the family is there. And so I have to look for the money and have to make sure that. How do you celebrate constant celebration when the realities of life of the celebration also needs some bit of money, and you're looking for it, and then somebody says, take a break, let's celebrate, but you know, if I don't work today and we celebrate today, chances of us not having food tomorrow, and the landlord come and said, Toka, from my house are very high. So men operate within that space.
Yeah.
Women don't. How do we bridge the gap?
Yeah, so I think men, we are the ones who have complicated ourselves. All right? That when you think of a celebration, you are thinking of $1 million shillings. Yet, God has made life easy for us. That which touches the heart of your friend may not necessarily even require you $1 million shillings. It may be simple things. Because maybe your wife is craving simply for you to hold her hand and cross the road with her. How much money do you require to hold her hand and cross the road with her? How much is that?
There is not much money involved there at all. But how about if I can't hold a hand, Pastor, and she just grabs my hand and says, let's cross. Will I refuse? I will not refuse.
Yes.
Because sometimes my mind is wandering and is far on protecting her from a coming car to knock us. And sometimes women, when they are crossing the road, they go in the middle of the road and then they go back, and that's how they are always knocked. So about you should cross.
Superman, just like you've seen the advert, I think soy milk. So this guy who jumps on, I'm sure he jumps from a gym and saves this kid. All right. All right. It's not a lot of money, but he's alert and he's meeting a service, saving the life of a little child. Hassan, while he's going around the world, is helping men how to celebrate your wife by simply say, I'm holding the baby. I will be there. The other day there was this competition, I think, how do you tie a baby on your back as a man? And of course women were laughing. We haven't grown up doing that. But there are other things that you can do. Why aren't you with her when it comes to crossing? I tell her, I see that car coming, let's wait. Now it is safe to cross. Just like you do it with your little child. The reason you call her babe is because there's a babiness in her that you want to call out of her, where she's appreciated for who she is, not for the food she's cooking or the shirt she's ironing. No, that's who she is. She's a queen to your life. So you don't need cash on that. Wow. Sometimes maybe your wife is craving for grasshoppers and God sends them freely.
To go and catch from the house?
Yes. And bring them to the house.
Yes.
And it makes a difference. Sometimes it's simple popcorn. Either you buy the popcorn seeds or from the popcorn machine. 500 shillings will give you something to eat with and drink coffee with. Sometimes simply sit and allow her to tell your stories. Sometimes you probably need to compliment her hairstyle because she's been to the salon, she's come back, and you said absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break, Pastor, and when we come back, Pastor will be telling us on the next, 12 or 13 minutes, how we 10 or I don't know how many ways you have today to share with us, the ways that we can express ourselves, on how to show this constant celebration of love, which is demanded of us, both men and women. So we're going to a break, and when we come back, Pastor will be able to tell us more on that. For now, grab a cup of coffee and get prepared to come back for this one. And of course, make sure you have a notebook to write some of these things out. Things are better written down, but if you have a superhead like mine that crams everything, you are better. But it's okay for you to write. Stay right there, we'll be right back after the break.
I've been in Uganda for very many years, and I believe Uganda is the place anybody should aspire to live in. We have good weather, we have abundance of food, we have abundance of employment as long as you look out for the right things. But Uganda has been hit in recent times with the stigma of greed. And it shows in everything that we read in the newspapers, it shows on television, it shows even when you're sitting down with people just trying to make ends meet. Everybody wants to bite off a piece that's bigger than what they deserve. That is Uganda's major problem in my eyes. If only we could curb the greed, if only we could share out that pie equally and of course responsibly, then we will be the best country on the planet. In the next 5 years, I really wish and hope that Ugandans can look at the bigger picture, can look at Uganda as a country, can look at their neighbors, their friends, and see that everybody needs equal opportunity. Because in the next 5 years, I don't want people to be calling me up saying, please, can you find me a job? I want people to be calling me up and saying, would you like to come and work with me? That is what I'd like to see. In the next 50 years, I don't want to see my child suffering. I want to see him prosperous. I want to see him with a good wife, with children, with a family of his own, living the dream. That's what I would like to see in Uganda. That's my honest opinion. And I'm Mark Kaheru, I'm Ugandan. What do you say?
It is a family talk show straight out of Kampala, the capital city of Uganda, to the rest of the world. We are the Pearl of Africa. Have you visited Uganda yet? Have you brought your family to Uganda? Does your family know where Uganda is geographically located on planet Earth? If not, please show up in Uganda and we will show you love. For now, we're showing you love on the family talk show, where we're discussing the matter to do with love, the matters of heart. How to constantly celebrate love with your partner, in your family, with your siblings, with your sisters. That's another whole different ball game that we haven't yet tackled. But Pastor Joshua Mugabe, welcome back to the show.
Yeah.
Pastor, before we went for a break, you gave us the 3 love languages, if I may put it, that we can follow to constantly celebrate love in our families. I want the team to put that topic up so that we can remind you. You might have taken a cup of coffee and forgotten what we're discussing. Love must be celebrated. The word is must. That's big.
Yeah.
Love must be celebrated, and love demands active celebration. One is must be celebrated. How do we celebrate it? 2 demands active celebration.
Yeah.
And the series on the family talk show is very simple: building family value systems. It is based on that value system that we can derive some of these things we're talking about. But Pastor, the love language from women are different. I know I've asked you this question, but I'll repeat it and rephrase it in a better way. Many men out there are struggling with the way women demand love from them, and it feels like it's just about women when we talk about love and celebration. It's never about men. So somehow men tend to get a burnout by feeling like, okay, if I am not talking to you when I've come home, it doesn't mean I don't want to talk to you. I just want to sit down, relax, and have you just be quiet near me there, and okay, smile and just be. I'm still in love with you. But for you, you are saying, hey, what's up? What's up? And I'm tired. It doesn't mean I don't want to talk to you or I don't love you. So some men get burnout from that. How can we help women to understand that not every time a man is not talking, is not expressing his love to you? It's a problem, Pastor.
Okay. I remember I landed on this 10 ways to show love to your husband. And I personally said, no, I will rewrite it.
This is for men, for women. Tell love to show love to you. Yes. Thank you very much. Everybody out there, please clap for Pastor. He has come with a very
I found fault with it. So I amended it. Because from number 5 to number 10, they say serve leg, serve leg, serve leg, serve leg. With all your heart serve. I said no, it's a misrepresentation of men. I know men's number 1 felt need is sex, and then there's respect and the rest. So I said no, okay, this is the way I think I would say show love to me this way. 1, respect me. My ideas, my phone, my parents, good sex. And don't simply be present, but be involved in the whole process. And that's another whole topic to talk through. But to me, I think if men knew they were heard and listened to, they're respected, and they're given that skill. And I think that's why God created women, so that they will be encouragers, helping the man to go beyond the frustrations of life, the fears of life. So, so what was your question?
Well, so my question you have answered, but there's one that you have not tackled very well. And actually you mentioned here the number 5 down. I have been reading, Pastor, and I'm now speaking on behalf of other men, you exclusive or inclusive. In my learning and understanding, there seems to be a misconception that men is about sex always and everything is about them. But actually it's not true. Because most men that I have read about, or we have had our man talk and discussed, is actually less more about sex than the respect. Men more they demand respect, knowing that my wife actually respects me. My wife knows that I am not a failure. My wife knows that I have I'm working for this family. Yes. My wife knows that I care for my family. All I am doing morning, evening, day and night, I care for my. That seems to be one of the most outstanding things for men. Sex will come second to that. But from all through the books I have read, I'm reading an audio book right now, which says Highways, I think is Highways, His Ways, or something like that. His needs, our needs. Yes, that book. And I found 1,000 problems with it. Half of the explanation in the book seems to suggest that it's about a certain way of behavior to men. And then I also realized that the way the men in the Western world behave is absolutely different from the way the men in the African context behave. So no one has been able to go along the way to actually do research to put all men together. But we seem to pick just a small piece from here and then generalize everyone. So I want to say, and I'm sure you're going to agree with me, it's more about respect. I can bring men here and they will say, all I need is respect. Give me respect, everything else I will give you. But if there is if I don't feel like I'm respected, I don't feel like you care that I am working every day to go and labor for the family. That seems to be the biggest thing. It's never about sex. But somehow it has been put that way. What is your summary of all of this, Pastor? Having given you from these books I'm reading. Is it true that we're about sex? Because everybody says men number 1 is this, but actually I think it's not.
So they've done the research, and of course what sex means to a man is different from what it means to a woman. And good, great sex to a man does push him a lot in many other great areas in his life. So, and maybe that's why they say it's number one. When a man feels he's failed sexually, he feels he's lost because the academic papers you bring to supplement, no, that is an immediate, let me call it test ground, but it's an affirmation ground, the way God created us. So, but what we are really looking for in our heart of hearts is that which God spoke over Jesus. This is my son in whom I'm well pleased. We want to be accepted. We all want that place of acceptance where we are accepted for who we are, where we are secure in who we are, not because of what we've done or not done. We want to again, for men, we really want to be known as significant people. All right? I've made a significant contribution, either to this child, to this woman, to this family, to this company, and that's where we lean towards. So if our significant contribution is not recognized, we will feel bad, we will feel unworthy, we will feel we've failed in life. And so that's where this whole thing comes in. So you want to help the man know he's significant and his contribution, whether it's in cash terms or not, it is significant and has been received for what it really is. So we need to know that every man counts. I know they used to talk about every vote counts. Yes, every man counts. Yes. And every woman counts. And every child counts. All right? So every one of us counts, and we must reaffirm that. That's why we say we want to celebrate love. Love must be celebrated in the family. When your child stands up after having been crawling, you celebrate that. If you can take pictures, take pictures. Go through a party for that. For everything, when your sick person recovers, comes back home, throw a party. It's a birthday. I mean, do something, show them, you know, you're the one. My children used to go to daffodils, and every week they'll choose a child of the week. And sometimes okay, they choose that, but with time you realize they want to give every child an opportunity to wear that tag, child of the week. Take pictures, it builds up something. I don't know whether families are capable of doing this, where you say, who is the man of the week, the servant of the week, the woman of the week, or the month, and we say this time we are going to praise this person, and all our focus is on this person. And of course people receive love differently, like said, son, when you help them in their chores or chores, whatever the English word is, okay, you serve them, it helps them. When others, you spend quality time with them, just talking to them, being there, rubbing their hair, and just rubbing their hands, man, they feel heaven is on earth. Others, you need to shower them with gifts. Others, words of affirmation. And so all these different things, you must learn what works best with a person. But I would say we must have families that know how to give gifts, that know how to listen, giving us quality time, that know how to serve us, and also how to affirm us, and all these different things.
Well, Pastor, our time is fast spent. Thank you very much, first of all, for coming to the show today. I'm looking forward to a perspective from Hassan Sekajolo later on the show. I want you to summarize this for us, Pastor. I know somebody will send a message asking for this clarification to come. And Tim, if you can put that question up again, we want Pastor to just take us through it very quickly in a matter of a minute. Love must be celebrated. Why did you use the word must be celebrated? That's a key, strong word.
Because unfortunately, like I said, you never go to any family and tell them they celebrate anger. And yet anger is a key factor in many families. Love, sometimes we are shy about it. Sometimes we say, okay, I'll show you love, but you have this. And I say must because we must be deliberate.
Okay.
Love does not come naturally. It's an effort. We first of all must learn to receive love.
Ourselves.
We must learn to receive love so that that love is overflowing. one of those changing stories in the Bible is this woman who found Jesus and washed his feet with her tears and dried his feet with her hair. And people say, hey, who does that to a man of God? But Jesus, in bringing that story to light, he says, you know, he who is forgiven much, loves much.
Okay.
He who receives, because that woman had found something so amazing in her life that common talk did not hinder her. So she expressed that love. But why do you remember her? She could have been somewhere in a room, somewhere saying, oh, what Jesus has done for me, I cannot tell it all. It's a nice song, but it's a terrible song. What God has done for you, you must tell it. What your husband has done for you, you must tell it. What your wife has done for you, you must tell it. What your children have done for you, you must tell it. We must get on the rooftop and talk about it.
All right, so you are watching the Family Talk Show, and I want you to put the second one up there so that people can see it, and Pastor can summarize that one very quickly.
Yeah.
Pastor, you said love demands active celebration.
Yeah.
Would you want to break that up for us to take home, like you've done for Must Be Celebrated?
Yeah.
Demands active celebration.
Yeah, so don't simply sit back and send SMSs and WhatsApps, which are good, but go to that person and say, look them straight in the eye and say, you're amazing. List down the thing and say, you know, you're amazing about this. All right? Take time, have a party. Take time, go out as a family. Take time, go on a holiday. Because I know one of the challenges, I am out working all the time and I want to send my wife on holiday. I like what one man said, she doesn't need a holiday from you. Although if she needs a holiday from you, you're in big trouble. She needs a holiday with you.
Yes.
So plan, and when you're together, these things must be thrown aside.
Yeah.
And so this 1 hour or this 15 minutes is me and you. TV off, remote hidden by the children. Now we are going to talk. I remember one child talking to his father and said, at least this is my prayer. I want 100 days with you. Having seen 100 days with Trump, the kids said, no, I need 100 days with my father. That's my request.
Yes.
So that we can sit, go out to the beach, take ice cream together, go to Acacia Mall, do things together.
Yeah.
So get time when you focus on each other. Active, not simply sending, be present, spirit, soul, and body. And don't put time that clashes. Like if money is playing Arsenal, that's the wrong time. It's the wrong time to you try and say, well, we catch up time. Catch up time must be maybe like Good Friday, and don't only wait for Good Friday. Make it part of your calendar that every fourth day of the week, this is what to do.
Well, thank you very much, Pastor. We want to say our time is fast spent, and this is the Family Talk Show. You are actually watching the Family Talk Show, and we will be back next week, same time, same place, and we'll be bringing you the best topic on the series of building our family values so that we can be able to celebrate love better and also be able to demand love from those who we need love from and give love to those who we need to give. Otherwise, it's been really a fantastic day, moment, hour, second having you on the Family Talk Show. Until next week, stay blessed and God bless. This is the Family Talk Show. Pastor Joshua Martin Mugabe, Eddie Okela, signing out. Until next week.
Welcome to House of Talent Television. My name is Atengi Manuel. Wherever you're watching from in the world, it could be morning, could be evening, it could be afternoon. In the UK, they have a saying that any time is tea time, but here on House of Talent Television, we say any time is coffee time. Welcome to the Coffee Break Show this week. Like I said, my name is Atengi Manuel. This is House of Talent Television. Remember, you can catch us on our social media handles at HTV1, on Twitter, House of Talent, Uganda live stream on our YouTube channel, or you can head up to our Facebook on House of Talent TV Uganda and make sure you catch this show. This is the show that brings you everything about coffee, from the farmers to the baristas, to the coffee drinkers, to the enthusiasts, anything and everything about coffee. Today in the studio with me is a man who has a wide span of knowledge when it comes to coffee, and not only coffee, when it comes to agriculture, and he's here to share with us his knowledge about the coffee industry. Owen, you're very welcome to the show. It's good to have you here. I know you have a wealth of experience working for Naro. I know that you also went to Israel to do your master's, and the knowledge I believe that you're going to give us here today about coffee is going to help everyone out there. Before we get deep into this show, we're just discussing about there's a thing that we have on the show about coffee myths. Some people think that when you take coffee, ABC happens. But before the show, we're discussing about a myth that I actually hadn't heard about. Okay, in Uganda, they say that coffee was used to make bullets. I don't know how true this is.
From where I come from, in Rwenzori sub-region, it's a childhood myth, and actually some elders still carry it on that coffee is used to make bullets, because basically the farmers didn't know what happens beyond their coffee, beyond after drying, what happens. They say, part of it is in making bullets. It's a myth. You should ask people from Rwenzori sub-region.
That's an interesting one. I'd actually never heard about that myth. I'd heard about other myths, but making bullets. I don't even know how you get from coffee to bullets. But yeah, I mean, those are the things that us as the coffee enthusiasts really need to clear. And I liked how you said that, it came from the farmers and they don't know what happens beyond the farm, and I believe that is a good place for us to start at. We have had people on the show and we have basically talked about where coffee begins, from getting the seed, putting it into the ground, from the nursery bed to the farm, then all the way down to the coffee drinker, from tree to cup, as they usually say it. But one of the things that is actually not discussed, is the issues that are faced during that period when the coffee is growing. For example, the different coffee diseases that are there. I know that there are certain baristas, even if you ask them today what coffee diseases exist, they know nothing about them. All they know is their part as a barista, and I believe that this knowledge has to be known by them. So coming from your experience, you've worked in Naro, you've worked in Zadi, and what are some of these diseases that affect coffee, and are there some that are particular to Uganda, or it's a wide spectrum that is just affects coffee around the world?
Well, there are quite many diseases, but some are specific to species. As you know, we have two major economic species. It's Coffea arabica and then Coffea robusta. Diseases like coffee wilt disease are specific to robusta. It will never affect arabica. In Uganda, it doesn't affect arabica. But then there are diseases that are common or prevalent in arabica, like the coffee leaf rust. Not a big problem in robusta. Then there are other like coffee berry disease, coffee red blister. There are many diseases, and this is something that we would like farmers and baristas to understand. Some diseases like the berry disease, red blister, affect the quality. When these diseases affect the cherries, they dry off. But what if someone carries the same diseased cherries and sells them as chiboko? If you don't understand that this is a diseased cherry, you will think it has been dried, yet they stripped it off, mixed it with the normal cherries. And it's good to know the disease, it's good to know the pests. It's the basis of the farmer, of farm management. Just like parenting, you need to know when your kid is sick of what, to tell that the kid is sick, then you seek further treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know the signs of flu, then you
can't treat it.
You think maybe the kid is just sneezing.
Yeah. So
knowing that they are sick, knowing their plant is sick, is one step of seeking further help.
Yeah. So how do we get to know what is the process? Because if I go to the hospital and say, let me say, in my mind, I think I have malaria, okay? But the doctor basically has to go through a diagnosis. They'll take some blood here, they'll take a urine test there, and at the end of the day, they will verify whether I actually have malaria or not, okay? So what is that process in coffee where you get to know which kind of disease is affecting a certain kind of coffee?
Okay, first is understanding them, is having regular talks with the extension workers, the researchers, and people who understand the diseases. A disease like coffee wilt disease, the most common, obvious symptom is dieback. Dieback is when your coffee dies from the head, that tip, it dies going down. Because coffee wilt disease is caused by fungi. Now the fungi will block nutrients and water from going up the tree.
Yeah. That
means the farthest is the one that is going to die.
Yeah.
The farthest will die and dies like that.
All the way down.
Dieback. Yeah. It's the commonest disease. But coffee wilt disease that does not have obvious symptoms on the cherries.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other diseases like red blister and then berry disease, they have obvious symptoms because they are specific to cherries.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a few symptoms on the leaves. Coffee leaf rust, your coffee will rust, and this is important for Arabica farmers. The coffee will have some rust under the leaf. When you turn your leaf like this, you'll see a rust.
Yeah.
Just like rust. Yeah.
Okay, so imagine I'm a farmer. Okay, I have my farm. I believe in my mind that everything is going well. Okay, then you, as Naro, come and tell me, you know what, your plants have such and such a disease. These are the symptoms. Okay, so what is the process that we would go through, okay, to help me in such a case? Because I know that there are very many farmers who actually have no idea. Okay, sometimes they say, oh, I'm cursed.
Yeah, that's another myth.
That's another myth. Okay, so sometimes I think it's a curse. So a neighbor of theirs was jealous, went to the witch doctor, and cursed their plants. But in the event that my plants, let's say, are sick, okay, what is the next step in treatment?
Okay, first, now you've seen unusual, mishap in your field.
Yeah.
Naro does not do extension.
Okay.
But it usually reaches out to the farmers because Naro's, I'm not speaking for Naro, but the Naro mandate stops at dissemination. Tech development and dissemination.
Yeah.
The NADS and OWC pick it up from there because their mandate is to do extension.
Yeah.
Now, but doesn't stop me from telling you that your coffee is sick or another expert, we have NGOs that also do extension to tell you that, yeah, your coffee is sick. So after that, but you've also seen the symptom. Then you seek expert help.
Yeah.
The expert will tell you whether you need to spray, or you need to cut, or you need to use culture methods, or inorganic sprays or organic sprays.
Yeah.
If you know it, you can take it upon yourself. If, let's say, you've had an experience with the disease and it has resurfaced, you can use the previous, treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the most important thing I'll emphasize on is seek expert help. Before you buy a chemical, you need to know, is this the right one? Am I going to use it right? So that you don't waste your money or you don't pre-expose yourself to, something that could be dangerous to you. Or you're trying to spray coffee wilt disease with a fungicide, and yet this disease is inside.
Yeah.
The fungi is inside. We call it the xylem and phloem. That is where the fungi is. But you're spraying the leaves and all that. It may not help. You're wasting money. You're also exposing yourself to these chemicals.
True.
So it's best to seek expert knowledge. If you don't understand, if you know a farmer who has had an experience with the same disease, ask them. Consult widely.
Yeah.
Have second and third opinions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I'm to seek expert help, okay, I believe that there are certain avenues that I have to follow. There are certain organizations where I can seek this help. So what are some of those organizations that as a farmer I can go to?
First is NARO.
Yeah.
I'm not being biased because I've been working with NARO, but first is NARO because it's NARO that generates the technologies, generates the control measures, the varieties, and disseminates them.
Yeah.
Then there's NADS. NADS has a League of Extension Workers. There's UCDA now. UCDA controls the coffee industry, regulates the coffee industry, and they are the best people to reach out to. UCDA has extension workers actually in almost every coffee growing region. Yeah. Then there are other NGOs that are specific to coffee or specific to agriculture extension. Other NGOs like TechnoServe. Then there are private companies that are into coffee but also do extension because you know it's a win-win. Yeah. You don't want farmers to lose. You are cutting off your supply. So some private companies have taken it upon themselves to offer extension services. Yeah. So ask widely, but don't rely so much on Twitter or Google because you may end up getting a recommendation for Vietnam thinking it will work in Uganda. So Google, but also ask, reach out to the experts. Yeah. You know.
Okay, you talked about UCD, the UCDA there, and I've heard from a couple of people that every time they have tried to approach UCDA, they did not get help, okay? And they're of the view that, you know what, since UCDA can't help us, we're going to do this by ourselves. How true is that? Does UCDA actually, in their mandate to regulate coffee in Uganda, actually help these people, or there's a lot of bureaucracy and red tape that goes into this, that by the time you actually get the help, maybe you've lost the morale? So does UCD actually help?
UCD is supposed to help, and I know some farmers that have been helped. Yeah. First, they are the first years in case there is an outbreak of a strain disease. You have to reach out to UCD or to NADS. They help, but usually they help organized farmers, and it's like, I'm a UCD extension worker. I'm not speaking for them. I'm a UCD extension worker. You phoned me in Kampala. You're telling me about a disease that is in Masaka. I cannot understand it, and I don't have even means of facilitation to go there. Yeah. So I'll direct you to the nearest extension workers. Yeah. So when farmers don't understand, don't get to access, help within their location, they'll say, I wasn't helped. I'm just trying to imagine. And also sometimes it's easier to work with organized farmers. Let's say you're an association, then you invite UCD extension worker. You can come. You're 20 farmers, 100 farmers. Yeah. That's a bigger platform. Yeah. Because they're also underfunded. Yeah.
I like the way you say that UCDA is supposed to help.
Yeah, they are supposed to help. Yeah, because they regulate the industry. Yeah. And now with the Coffee Act, they have more powers.
Yeah, I think that brings me.
That's what they have always wanted, and they have it.
Okay, we're going to get into a break right now, but viewers will come back with more, about coffee. I believe that this is a very good discussion, especially for the farmers who are out there and may not have an idea about the various things that go into, farming of coffee. For example, the diseases, then what happens after you've grown the coffee. And we're going to have more of this discussion with Owen in the studio. Stay right there. This is the Coffee Break Show on House of Talent Television with me, Ateng Emmanuel.
So I used to love the way our barista used to present his cups. Yeah. For example, one day he presented some nice coffee. It was a cappuccino, very nice, presented, and I asked him, how do you make this? He said, you go to a school and study. Yeah. So I used to love the passion he had. So I said one day I should learn this. So I kept on serving his orders. But I found out that most of the orders were according to the way he was feeling. Baristas present their cups according to the way they are feeling, according to their mood. In case he left home when he's sad, he's not happy, you will see the results in the cup. But when you see something beautiful, just know he's so happy. Yeah. So the passion he had and the love he used to put in the cup really encouraged me to join the school. Not until I got to learn about Isaac at the Pro Plus. Yeah. Then I came with some of my friends, so we are now doing the course.
I think most female feel like being a barista is more of a male job, or being a farmer is a male thing, or being a quality controller. Yet they don't know that there are other perfect people that we are looking at. So we want to bring this gender equality into the coffee business. I would thank this the International Women Coffee Alliance. It has really done a very good job to encourage women into the coffee business.
The brew ratio is very important. The most important brew ratio. Now most people may not understand. It is the ratio of the coffee powder to water, and the yield. Water in this article will bring us into the yield. If I put 10 grams of coffee into my portafilter, how much of it am I exactly? So if you don't master the brew ratio,
then being eager to learn, for everyone who is out there, with the young men, every young man out there, you need to be eager to learn, because there are many opportunities there. I don't know, I've met Emma today, I don't know where we shall meet any other time. I will meet this person, so always be humble and be eager to learn. And then about coffee, I've learned, like I think I've learned that always take everything in the steps. Because if I had started with the basics, I wouldn't be back here now.
Because I knew probably big hotels serve coffee. So to my dismay is that I introduced myself as a barista, and everybody was like, "What's a barista?" So I said, a barista is a specialist that makes coffee, a person who makes coffee for people to, coffee like, cappuccino, different kinds of, coffees, and people were like very green. I say, this is a big hotel. I expected to find here a coffee machine, and nobody knows about it. So it's, I think, incumbent of us to really transform this entire community, the entire country, to coffee, to learn about coffee, and also to give them the advantages of coffee, teach them about coffee, and then later on they maybe consume it, rather than just selling it.
Welcome back to the Coffee Break Show on House of Talent Television. My name is Emmanuel Ateng, and before we went for the break, we're talking to Owen Singura, about the different coffee diseases that face coffee. We're talking about what happens during the coffee growing process. And coming back to the show right now, Owen, welcome back to the show. I know we started the show on a coffee myth that, you know, coffee apparently was used to make bullets.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's right. And I think now, as a farmer or as someone who's out there, it is a myth. We have debunked that one for now. Yeah, and we're talking about basically the different kind of diseases that affect, you know, coffee, and also how to diagnose them, and also what to do, you know, for the farmers who are out there when your crop gets diseases, what you can do. And one of the things you said is that we should seek professional help. And, you know, after getting that professional help, that opens up, you know, other avenues to what you can do for your crop. Coming back to the show, I remember you can catch us on our social media pages, HTV1 on our Twitter, on our YouTube, our House of Talent Uganda live stream, and also on Facebook at House of Talent Uganda. Make sure to watch the show, spread it far and wide to the farmers out there, to the baristas, to the roasters, whoever you know is involved in the coffee chain and the coffee process, because we need this knowledge if we are to make Ugandan coffee be at par with Ethiopian coffee. As you know, I read in the Coffee Act, you know, we are trying to get to where Ethiopia is. Yeah, and I believe that it's a very good thing. We're talking earlier, and you told me that you went to Israel, you know, to do your master's. Yeah. Okay. First question is, do they have a coffee culture in Israel like we do in Uganda?
Yeah, they do. They are big time coffee drinkers,
Yeah.
and different ways. There's the Turkish coffee.
Yeah.
There's Arab coffee, you know, that in
Yeah.
a pot,
Yeah.
and then you swirl it in the sun.
Yeah.
Gets ready. You pour, and they have actually better taste of coffee than us. Yet they don't grow. You know, I've met 50-year-olds who have never seen a coffee tree. But they take a lot of coffee. They take coffee in the morning, coffee in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I know a guy who takes coffee and cigarette as breakfast. But you know, the irony is we who grow don't take.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a big irony. So what are some of those differences you saw between, you know, the coffee culture in Israel and that in Uganda? I know you've already talked about one. We grow it, we don't take it. They don't grow it, yet they take it more than us. Okay, so what are some more of those differences that you experienced when it comes to that coffee culture in these two places? Different areas of the world, actually.
Their taste is growing towards specialty.
Yeah.
There are specialty cafes coming up. Then the people, when they go to buy, they don't go for instant coffee.
Yeah.
And for us, when we go in the supermarket, even the richer ones, we buy instant coffee. But actually, just let me take you a little off.
Yeah.
Instant coffee is like a sausage.
Mm.
The best meat is not used in making sausage. The best meat is reserved for steak.
Yeah.
The, you know, mediocre meat and, you know, of the red meat is what they use in rolling for sausage, because you'll not see the quality unless you've made custom-made sausage.
Yeah.
The same thing with instant coffee. The good thing with coffee, they don't throw anything apart from the extraneous matter, stones and plastics, if they are there. The undergrades, the broken beans, the rotten beans are the ones they reserve for instant coffee, because when you get a tin of the instant coffee, you'll not know that this was from screen 18.
Yeah.
So the screen 18 and 15 reserve it for cafes and specialty coffee and fine coffee, because someone is seeing what they are buying. The aroma is there.
Yeah.
The rest, the irony is when it comes here, instant coffee is more expensive than specialty and fine coffee.
Yeah.
Even the educated people, the exposed ones, they don't.
Yeah.
It's the river. In Israel, people are aiming for, you know, top quality.
Yeah.
And they actually imported some coffee from Africa and South America. They repackage it, create private labels,
Yeah.
and they earn a lot of money from it.
Yeah.
Why not us do it?
You know, it's interesting that there's this westernization effect, okay? The way they are marketed instant coffee. It feels like when it comes down to Africa, me, the person who's taking instant coffee, is perceived as the one who has money or class for that matter. Yet if you went into a deeper understanding, you know, the person who's actually taking the real coffee could be considered as the person with more class in this matter. But
I won't say that people are not exposed, guys have traveled, but it's still gross ignorance.
Yeah.
But still, we can do the instant coffee from our good coffee. I remember it's Kaohsiung, I would say, why not use good coffee to make instant coffee, because it will be cheaper here. We can still explore that avenue as we are graduating people from instant to brewed coffee.
Yeah.
Back in the day when I was volunteering with UCDA in, you know, increasing local coffee consumption campaign, we used to hit the market and brew the coffee, but someone will tell you, why is this coffee rough? Why is this coarse? We want the smooth one.
Yeah.
I tell you, no, the smooth one is not good. This coffee is rough for a reason. Otherwise, we could have made it finer.
Yeah.
But the reason is, the rougher the coffee, the better the brew. Not very rough, but of course you have to, you know, hit the standard.
Yeah.
Again, this is scientific, that rough coffee has a lower surface area to volume ratio.
Yeah.
That means it will retain the aroma very fast. I want people to do an experiment. You know, open a tin of instant coffee. I don't want to mention the major brand. Open it, and also open the tin of your brewing grade coffee, the rough one, what Ugandans call the rough one. Leave it open for 1 week. After 1 week, the best thing the instant coffee will be able to do is turn water to brown. But with this brewing grade coffee, there will still be the aroma. Because the surface area is low, that means it still keeps the, you know, the fineness in it. Yeah. The instant coffee, everything will go. There's no kawo. So that's something we want to, you know, our Ugandans learn. But we understand. There are another challenge is people don't know how to brew coffee.
Yeah.
If they knew, maybe they would have tried it. So I genuinely don't blame them. Yeah. Brewing coffee, Ugandans, they want to brew coffee like tea. But actually, we also don't know how to brew good tea.
Tea, true.
Get coffee, get water, boiled water, add coffee, then stir immediately. Then the coffee will float. Then we say, ha, oh my lava, Ugandan products. Tiwalina class, see, all the coffee is floating. That's not, it's not how it should be. The rule of brewing, if you're brewing from a cup, it's coffee first, water. Yeah. Back in the day, in high school, when you used to do chemistry, they will tell you, do not add water to acid because it's going to burst and kill you. Yeah. So it has to be the other way around. Yeah. You know, add acid to water, especially if it's concentrated. Yeah. It's the standard rule in the lab and in my profession. Yeah. So the same thing, if you want to brew home brewing of our Ugandan coffee, the rough one as we call it, boil water, make sure it boils. Put coffee first in the cup, then add the water. Then wait for at least 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah. The coffee itself will go down. You won't need to, you know, do this drinking when you're spitting.
Yeah, I think the first experience people have with coffee, like we were talking earlier, there is this. I also don't want to mention the brand, but we have coffee for 100 shillings. You know, so it's the same process. Get the coffee for 100 shillings, like you get tea leaves, pour it in a cup, and you know, we have a show on our TV station called the Creative Industry Talk. Basically talks about creativity in Uganda, and one of the shows will talk about Bubu, you know, by Uganda. Okay, and Ugandan products are seen, however good a Ugandan product is, in the eyes of the people, it's always going to be mediocre. Okay, we always say, man, these things are made in Uganda. Okay, so I think the same could be applied to the coffee in Uganda. How can we change people's perspective? Because I believe that if I say put a coffee from Uganda, very good coffee, and I brought another, let's say from the States, someone will obviously run towards the one of the States without even analyzing which one could be better. Just that the fact that this is made in Uganda. How can we change the perspective, okay, of Ugandans to actually start supporting Ugandan products, you know, in reference to the coffee industry?
So that's a good one. Actually, it's not only Ugandans struggling with that. Many countries also the Israelis think foreign is best. Yet for us, we look up to Israelis. So it's a common thing amongst citizens of different countries. You think foreign is good because it has come all the way to here, you know, champagne and all that stuff. Yeah. So, so one thing is the Ugandan people also have to imitate the standards of the competitors.
Yeah.
I look at coffee brands. You reach the supermarket, you look at how we are branding Ugandan coffee, and I will assure you that 90% of them are not going to cross the border to even Kenya. We have that cliche packaging of valve packs. It's standard, yes, we understand. It's standard for coffee, but you all having the same thing.
Yeah.
When I was at university, at the Chamberlain University Coffee Association, and Meiko and Haman and the members, we created a brand, but we also used the same valve packaging. It's something we did at undergraduate, but you find someone has invested 1 billion, but still packaging in 1 million, 1 million kind of packaging.
Yeah.
We need to imitate excellence if we can't make excellent products, if we can't make excellent packaging. Get our coffee, package it like they do. I usually give an example of, you've seen how the Vietnamese pack their coffee, or the Thailand pack Black Ivory coffee. This is not expensive packaging, but you just have to have the patience of understanding packaging and branding. Let me give you an example. We used to do the packaging, valve packs, put a sticker. Take it to the supermarket. The supermarket will tell you, we are not paying you until we sell. I used to be mad. You know, Haman was our marketing manager. We used to be mad that they are not paying us. They're actually surviving on us. But in actual sense, they were taking our coffees, adding it down the shelf, you know, with other many brands of the same packaging. Then they put the foreign brands at the corner where there's maximum attention. And the foreign brands, of course, they are paying cash upfront. For us, first sell and then pay you. In the end, the coffee gets stale. Now, when a consumer comes to the supermarket, and I know many guys who don't take supermarket coffee, is that you go to the supermarket, you're buying coffee that has spent 3 months, 6 months. It is stale. Because of the packaging, and also the grocery managers have put them down in the Kayola. So if you have to attain the boo-boo, if you have to boost coffee consumption and people support our brands, we need to do top-notch packaging, world-class packaging. I don't want to talk about what we presented at the World Coffee Expo, but to be sure no one is going to buy it, or no one will even take it for free. Because it is so cliche. This is packaging of 30 years ago. But the good news is that there are few Ugandans who are aiming for excellence, looking for that, you know, niche packaging, and they are getting markets in Europe and North America. We can do the same. That's how we're going to compete with, you know, Brazil and Vietnam.
Well, that's an interesting thing, because I've actually been to the supermarket, and exactly what you say, the Ugandan coffees are thrown somewhere down there. You know, I have a friend who does her own coffee, and she complains about the same thing. By the time you get paid for your coffee, it's stale, and you know, if I buy a stale coffee, I'm not going back to buy the same brand again. So basically, I'm on the losing side. Okay, and the foreigners are getting more and more out of us, and even that money that they're getting is not really repatriated back into the country.
It's not your
money.
money.
It's not our money. So all of us are losing at the end of the day, and it's something that we need to really, you know, do to improve the coffee industry. I know one of your backgrounds is research in coffee, and we're talking earlier, and you said, you know, in coffee research, to come up with, you know, a type of coffee takes you 10 to 15 years. Okay. And to the normal person, they think, now how are we going to wait 10 to 15 years, you know, for you to come up with a different kind of coffee? Is there one that you have come up with? Is there one that you are currently working on? And if so, could you give us some more, you know, information about it?
Oh, that's a nice one. To an ordinary person, they cannot imagine that the coffee they are growing, someone sat a decade and more to work on it. Towards the late 90s and the early 2000s, there was coffee wilt disease. It's really ravaged and destroyed almost over 50% of the Robusta coffee.
Yeah.
Now, Narrow had to sit because every problem in agriculture, the eyes are on Narrow. They had to sit and try to create solutions. And one of the solutions, coffee wilt disease is a very tricky one. I told you, you will spray and you won't control it.
Yeah.
So they had to come up with varieties that are resistant to the disease. And from that time, during the early 2000s and up to now, they have released 10 varieties. 10 coffee varieties that are resistant to wilt disease. That is KR 1 to KR 10.
Yeah.
Nowadays, KR 10. But it's not that you sit and work on one. I'm not a coffee breeder, but I've worked with coffee breeders. It's not that they sit and work on one, release it. They, work in tandem.
Yeah.
Because these varieties, how much they are all coffee wilt resistant. They have different attributes.
Yeah.
And then they perform well, in different regions, different agronomic conditions, different flavors.
Yeah.
Another thing is that after researchers have developed the variety, they have to take it to UCDA for scoring. Because it doesn't help when you make a good coffee variety, high yielding, big, and it doesn't taste well.
Yeah.
So now that's how UCDA comes in. They have to assess the cup quality.
Yeah.
It's a back and forth, years and years and years and years, and they say now this is good.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to spend 10 years on a loser product.
True.
You're wasting taxpayers' money, you're wasting your time. So the 10 varieties, in actual sense, it should be that KR 7 is better than, KR 10 is better than KR 7. Theoretically, that's how it should be. But sometimes even that KR 10 has, KR 7 has better attributes than KR 10. The whole point is give farmers a wide range of choices to work with.
Yeah.
Always assess. And I actually recommend farmers, every farmer should be a researcher on their field. Use your own understanding, do your own assessments. Narrow may not reach anywhere, NADS may not reach everywhere, UCDA may not reach everywhere, like you said.
Yeah.
But farmers have to be their own researchers. Compare, see, this one does well, this one doesn't do well, or this one is heavier, this one is lighter, this one matures faster.
Yeah.
But why did we go the cloning way? No, the breeders realized, okay, let me go back to the biology of coffee.
Okay.
Two coffee species, Robusta and Arabica. The difference, one of the differences that Arabica is self-pollinating. By the time an Arabica flower opens, it has, pollinated itself, or to pollinate itself shortly. Robusta is cross-pollinating. Now, you remember in our basic biology and science, cross-pollination is moving anthers from here and pollen from here to the stigma of the other. So you are creating variability. Like man and woman, you create a child who has characteristics from both. Now, Robusta being cross-pollinating, the fruits are going to be different from either of the parents.
Yeah.
But now you want to keep the disease-resistant top-notch. So you have to clone. So the nursery operators, the Narrow and UCD, they have mother gardens where they pick clones so that you have, if it is KR7, you're going to produce seedlings that are strictly KR7. Because even if, KR7 is pollinated by another variety, you're going to create L8 seeds.
Yeah.
L8 seeds also work, but the resistance of L8 seeds to coffee wilt disease is not as high as a clone, because with clones, you have true to type. Yeah. Imagine they cloned you, Emma. You're going to have a kid who is going to be like you 100%.
Yeah. True.
Maybe you're resistant to COVID. Just think. So we shall clone you and make many Emmas.
Yeah.
That's it's by the way. But if you married someone, you're going to have a kid who is looking like mom or like you, or having combined traits.
Yeah.
So the L8 seeds work but their resistance is not as strong as if they were clones. Now, most farmers go for elites.
Yeah.
Because elites are cheaper. Just get this seeds, coffee seeds, plant them, they germinate, you sell. Clones, you have to have a mother garden, you have to be certified by ECD to operate a commercial nursery, you have to clone.
Yeah.
But the upside of it is that the cloned varieties are going to mature faster, and they have the resistance to the wilt disease, and they are true to type.
Yeah.
If you like KR7, you're going to have KR7. If it's 10, you're going to have KR10. Maybe you've gotten an importer or a client who likes KR7 or likes KR8.
Yeah.
So that means you're going to give them, you're controlling your quality. That's quality assurance. Done. That your coffee is going to taste the same today, next year, and the other year for 10 years.
Yeah. Interesting. I like how you say that, most farmers actually go and buy the elite because they are cheap.
Yeah,
which is a Ugandan problem.
So Uganda, we want to take shortcuts.
Yeah.
But in farming, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work in farming. We're coming towards the end of the show, and we have discussed a lot of things. But as we draw towards the end, okay, we're discussing earlier about how we have different players in this coffee chain, okay? And right now the focus is mainly on the baristas, okay? And on this show we have had a lot of baristas, and I believe that most of them actually, because a barista course is 1 month, 2 months, if you want to 3 months at the most, and most of them don't have the kind of knowledge like you are talking about right now. Most of them don't know what happens in the farm apart from the theory they're given in class. Okay, so as we come to the end of the show, what word do you have for baristas out there? Because like we said earlier, you won't be a barista at 70. Okay, what can these baristas do to make themselves more relevant in the coffee chain and the coffee process, and also more relevant for their lives going ahead?
Okay. I usually meet baristas and I'll tell them you're going to be active for 10 years maximum. If you stretch it, 20 years. But you can, graduate yourself first. You've learned barista, basic barista, add more skills, but also advance to maybe quality control. Because if you do R or Q grading, then you can get a job in a private farm or a coffee exporting or a coffee processing farm. That's 1+. Another thing, if you're a barista who has a background in agriculture, you can work backwards, switching back to your profession. It's going to be good if you applied for a job, let's say quality control, and you're a barista, you have studied R or Q, and you also know some coffee agronomy. Definitely they will take you. Also, you're going to be better than someone who has studied quality control but is not a barista, because every employee wants a bigger package of you at the same price. So the thing is, if you're a barista, you're 40 years, you've overstretched to maybe 40, 45, at least learn Q or R. UCD has free, these are free courses. I'm not speaking for UCD, but they are free. R and Q grading, they are free. You stand a chance to get a job in the coffee industry, in growing or processing farm. But another thing, we have some people we are with who have a background in agriculture or biotechnology. I know some who have switched back to research. And again, they stand a higher chance. Because if I applied for a job with a counterpart who is just an agriculture expert, but I'm also a barista expert, I know some basic of quality control, then I stand higher chances. And I'm going to get a job. I know guys who have done that. Done barista, then switched back to research. And they're doing amazing things. Because also the researchers don't know how good coffee is. They are preparing it, but then they don't know that you can make a mocha, latte, and you can make all these variations. It's also helping the research industry. When I was still in coffee research, as an intern, our director by then banished instant coffee. He was a new director. He was like, guys, we are a coffee research institute. Why are we taking instant coffee? Like, come on, guys. And not just instant coffee, imported instant coffee.
Yeah.
Dude, you people should be taking the best coffee because you make it.
Yeah.
You've earned it. Now, they have an espresso machine. They brew. They're enjoying.
Yeah.
You see? But to bring that vibe, it takes someone who understands coffee beyond the bean.
Yeah.
To bring that way. Now they're happy people. They were like, man, I didn't know that my variety tastes this good.
Yeah.
Because most probably the guy has made the variety and has not been drinking it.
Yeah.
So that's the vibe. And guys who are changing, the research world also.
Yeah.
They are baristas.
Yeah.
They have gone back to research.
Yeah.
The baristas, but they have gone into, because even private companies want researchers. They want agronomists.
Yeah.
The whole thing is, if you have gone into the coffee industry, you may not understand everything, but try to understand the basics of coffee from the seedling beyond the bean.
Yeah.
Even the market metrics.
Yeah.
Especially the market metrics.
Yeah.
It's important to understand
Yeah.
the market dynamics. The biggest thing in the market dynamics right now, Brazil was hit bad by hailstorms and frost. It's a plus to us.
It gives us an opportunity
it's an opportunity for us.
slide
but for
in
them.
there somewhere.
The smart guy, when Brazil was hit by frost, should have bought more coffee.
Yeah.
Because actually there's a coffee crisis. It's
Yeah.
projected that 3 years from now there's going to be a coffee crisis.
Yeah.
If you can buy coffee, buy it as much as you can because it's going to be high.
Yeah.
Sorry for the Brazilians.
But kind of good for us.
Yeah.
Well, Owen, we've come to the end of the show, but I believe that all the knowledge that you have shared in just this little span of time has really helped someone out there. Someone, the barista, the farmer, whoever is involved, and you brought to light a lot of things that a lot of people actually ignore. Okay. And I believe that this show should actually have a part 2 because
we can take it to the farm. Actually, I like it more in the farm.
Yeah, we can actually take it to the farm, which would be better. But thank you for giving us your time. I hope that next time we'll be at the farm and we'll get to know more about coffee, get to understand the different things that actually go into, getting coffee from the tree all the way to the cup. For our viewers out there, if you're a barista, if you're a farmer, if you're a CEO and you own your own coffee shop, there's a lot of information about coffee that you need to know. And this show basically gives you all that information. We want to thank you for staying with us this whole time, and we'll have another guest next weekend, or Owen will be back, or we'll be at the farm. You never know. Yeah, but thank you for being with us. This has been the Coffee Break Show on House of Talent Television. Till next time, get a good cup of coffee, and remember, Ugandan coffee is actually the best coffee out there. Have a blessed day.
lives.
People at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes. It is a Creative Industry Talk. My name is Eddie Okila, and this is House of Talent Television. On this refined day when we bring you the discussion about the new Africa-France relationship. What does it mean for Africa? What does it mean for the creative industry in Uganda? And of course in East Africa, what does it mean? Breaking down this today on this particular program of the day is the one and only, the man who was in France, fresh from Montefiore. He is the CEO and a startup business owner here in Uganda, but also an aerospace engineer. I would like to introduce to you my guest today on the program, or this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending on which part of the world you're actually watching the program from, is Paul Charles Rukundo. Paul, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Eddie.
Yes, we here we spread love with the other hand, so you bring the
Yes.
other and then you spread love. Aha. How are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good to have you on the program today.
Good to be here.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and this particular day we want to discuss the new Africa-France relationship and what does it mean for the creative industry in Uganda, particularly in the tech space where you are.
Yes.
And you have been investing in the tech space for some time, and we want to know from you this new talk that France has brought and they're talking about right now. Fresh from the summit in 2021 in Montefiore, what does it mean for the creative industry? What are they saying? How can we, take advantage of this and actually make sure that this relationship that we're beginning to forge is something that is good for us and we can take advantage of it? And I want to start from a very lighter note of knowing who you are. So, in a nutshell, who is Paul? Are you Ugandan? If yes, where do you come from? What are the values that define you as a person?
So, my name is Paul Charles Rukundo.
Yeah.
I'm an aerospace engineer, Ugandan born from Kisoro. Part of the family is from Kabale.
Okay.
And part of it is from Kisoro. I went to school here in Entebbe, Lakeside Academy, and I happened to be the head prefect there. Went on to St. Mary's College Kisubi after being the best in Entebbe municipality. And you know, that's where they started building my dream of becoming an aerospace engineer.
Yeah.
And you know, then on moved to do the international baccalaureate diploma, then moved to my aerospace program where I did excel, and I used to teach a few of my other students at the university, which in turn inspired me that you know, we could actually create solutions for the white people as well.
Yeah.
And it gave me the confidence and determination to go on and do my own things later on in life.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, I like the fact that you started leadership from the very, you know, early age.
Yes.
And on that note, Paul, what is leadership to you?
To be honest with you, leadership is, from my perspective, it's the ability to pass on good qualities to the people that that follow you, the people that should aspire to be like you, or to operate in a manner that society expects them to. So it's more about passing on good values to the people and taking them, showing them the right way that things have to be done. So yeah, that's my definition, so to speak. Leadership. Yes.
Yes, and I just want to you know, take you back a little bit, Paul.
Yes.
You said that you started, you know, you became a head prefect when you were very young,
yes.
I suppose. And just want to ask you a question. Would you term that to being creatively, being a good leader, or would you call that self-leadership? What would you call that?
At that point, it's the people that actually asked me to lead them.
Yeah.
I had been a class monitor all the way from the junior years, and when they asked me to stand, I stood, and the other people actually dropped out. So my friends, and you know, they said, if you're actually coming up to the platform to lead us, then we have no reason to stand against you,
yeah,
and we'll support you. So I went through and opposed, and it was quite an experience. I loved it.
Wow. I would like to take a moment to welcome everybody out there to the Creative Industry Talk. And of course, in the studio is Paul Charles Rukundo, who is the CEO of Smart Business Intelligence, SBI, a company founded in Uganda, as well as, you know, KAWA, which stands for Associated Agency for Writers in Uganda. And of course, Paul is still the CEO there and trying to lead a group of people. We're definitely going to ask Paul to share a little bit more about these two organizations that he leads, and what do they do, how do they, you know, do things creatively, and what solutions are they providing to the market space in Uganda and all across you know, East Africa, if there are any, and of course going to the rest of the world. We want to take this moment to welcome all of you guys to the program. And of course, Creative Industry Talk is discussing today the France Africa, you know, Summit 2021, the relationships. We're continuing with the series on what does it really mean for, you know, Uganda's creative industry in technology. And Paul is here to break that down. Last week we had Mr. Peter Nyeko coming from Manduli's Energy to talk about what does it mean for people in the energy space. And of course, Peter was able to break that on. Paul, we want to just, dive into this conversation quickly. You were in France.
Yes, I was.
And you happen to be among the few people who made it. I was in France by just a video.
Yes.
I recorded a statement.
Yes.
Would you just give us a small perspective of what this really means for Africa? What does new Africa-France relationship mean for Africa? In your perspective?
In my perspective, I think I like the initiative that President Macron and his team have taken. It's a big initiative called Choose Africa, and it's being led by the French Development Agency, FD, and FD is there to support governments, for those that don't know, and they purely support government. Then there is another arm called Propaco. Propaco is the private sector lending arm of the French government, and they basically support microfinance institutions. So they also do support SMEs, but through the microfinance institutions. And there's Digital Africa that is also supporting startups in tech, in this creative industry. And being there, I saw the zeal that they had to actually change, to participate, to take charge of what was happening in the continent, and to create solid partnerships, mutually beneficial partnerships that we could actually take advantage of. We managed to go there. We managed to network with quite a number of people, met people from all over the country, from the Anglophone to the Francophone to the Spanish-speaking African countries. And it's quite interesting seeing youth, just like us, that are facing similar challenges, but they're managing to, create their own solutions, from their own countries to try and help themselves. And one thing I would like to allude to or tell the other youth out there is we have to start creating our own solutions for our own problems. Otherwise, no one else is going to come from, Europe, America, or wherever to try and fix our own issues. So I would like to urge other youth, the other creatives out there, hit the ground running, go in there, try and solve the problem that your neighbor has, the problem that your friends have. And by creating those solutions, you can easily become the next big company of tomorrow, creating bigger solutions nationwide and on a continent level.
Okay. Talking of that, Paul, I want you to just drive straight to your, if you would tell us more a little bit about your organization. Your organization in the creative space, and we've been following this for a while. You got a nomination to come into the program, not only because you have been in France, but also because a group of people have been following what you've been doing. And if you would take a moment to just tell us about, Smart Business Intelligence, what is it about? What problems did you identify in the market space? And how did you come up with a product that you think are creatively solving the problems that are in the marketplace? And how were you able to put the brand ahead of time? It's not easy. The world described Uganda as the most entrepreneurial country in the world, but yet our businesses started does not see its next birthday, as we keep saying, or it does not go beyond 4-6 months, and yet we're very entrepreneurial. How were you able to hold this down growing forward? So we happen to be in one of the most entrepreneurial countries in the world. East Africans, they've got a huge entrepreneurial spirit. And there was data out there that said for every
10 startups,
Yeah.
you've got 8 that fail
Yeah.
in their first year.
Yeah.
So I've got my other colleagues, partners in the business, and one of the founders of SPI is a friend of mine, very close friend of mine, who happens to be an accountant as well. He's called Francis Otim, and the other is Ivan Oboth, who is a data scientist. You know, in regard to the creative part of the company, what we discovered vis-a-vis the 10, you know, out of the 10 startups, 8 failing. We decided to create solutions based on data. So that they're data-driven solutions, data-driven insights. And the idea was to work with these SMEs, work with these enterprises, see the visibility gaps they could have in their companies, try and fix those visibility gaps, fix those control gaps. Yeah. So we come in, transform the company digitally. Then we've got one of our products called My Accounts. It's an ERP, it's an accounting system. But basically what we do for the SME, for example, we'll come in there, give you the ERP, which is super cheap. We actually almost don't make a profit on that ERP because we're trying to help the SME. We're trying to help our own small companies grow to the next level. It's about 15,000 shillings a month for one user, but we usually package 1 to 10 users and have it sold at about 150,000.
Which is still affordable.
Which is still affordable. But the whole idea is your company will be able to know. I mean, if you take an example of some of our mothers or aunties that might be selling gonja in the market, might be selling meat in the market, but she's just that one person. She's got a big spirit, got a dream of doing something to, you know, help the families, you know, have that company that, you know, can start out. If you're the youth, you know, you're selling your Rolex, but how do you manage your finances? How do you manage your cash flows? So by using our ERP, they're able to manage their cash flows better. Yeah, and it's a very simple, you know, application to use. Web-based, mobile-based. It's mobile money integratable. And what we essentially help them with is the cash flow management. And then we also give them actionable insights. Depending on the package you've taken, give you actionable insights, and you're able to know, okay, with my cash flows that I have, where am I going wrong? Am I keeping too much inventory? Unlike the other softwares that we've seen out there, most of them do not have the inventory software management that is actually embedded within their ERPs. Ours is quite holistic. We'll manage your production if you're a big entity. You know, we'll manage the production, we'll manage the sourcing, we'll manage the distribution, and we've got softwares to do that. And we're actually a testament that AI, data, machine learning can actually be done by a Ugandan company, and we thrive at it. We thrive at it. And for the SMEs, as I was telling you, we aid them with that cash flow management bit of it, an e-accountant, so to speak. And what is interesting is we'll have them survive past that 1 year. But not just survive, but thrive as well. So that, you know, okay, with these finances that I have, can I be able to buy a new machine? Can I be able to employ 5 other people? And you'll be able to know that, okay, if I hire 5 more people, it will affect my cash flows in this way.
Okay.
It will affect my cash flows down the line. If I hold too much inventory, how will it affect my cash flow? Or you know, because of our insights and analytics that we've got, one can be able to know that I've been holding too much inventory here. And so I've got to offload some of it, which will aid them have more cash to operate with and cover their OPEX and some of the CAPEX.
Wow. Yes. Paul, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want us to dive into Kawa, and of course, you'll also throw a little bit more light about how this is changing lives in that area. So far from what we're hearing from you is that it's a very interesting, creative, you know, innovation that are helping businesses grow forward. Data has not been one of our, you know, main strength in Uganda. When we talk about data in Uganda, it says it's too expensive, I can't afford this at this point. And then we talk about creatively, you know, communicating about our products and brands. Says, no, that's too much money. I can't go into branding and marketing at the moment. So you find a lot of information about our businesses actually not out. Then you find our businesses are not, or our products are not on shelves anywhere, either in Uganda or across East Africa, or even in Africa, competing at that level with products coming from Kenya, Rwanda, and the likes, simply because the product packaging and branding is not very good. So it's not just about the data you are talking about. Does it help us to actually get to this point to say, you know what, you need to package your product very well. The reason why you're having too much inventory in the store is because, you know, you're not selling that much, or this product X or Y is not moving that much. You know, does it really get to that point where the person gets to creatively begin to realize what the problem is? To
be honest, you know, you're an ambassador of ours, so to speak, because that's exactly what it does. It's smart. It uses the artificial intelligence to be able to tell you that the way you're running your business is not the right way. This is where you're doing poorly. This is where you're thriving. These are the products you're selling more. This is where you're making the losses. Fix that gap. This is where you're most likely to thrive. So you focus on that. And because of those insights, your small company starts putting, starts targeting, you know, the market directly, because you know what product sells, which means you are going to have bigger revenue, more revenue, which means your company is going to thrive. So instead of seeing these 8 companies collapsing after 1 year, we hope to see maybe all the 10 go through in the first year. So that we can have, you know, higher employment in the country, so that we can have our products in shelves, you know, in the UK, in, you know, all over Europe, Paris, in the US, and all over. But at the end, you know, alluding to what we had spoken about earlier, from our experience going to Paris and talking to the big companies out there and telling them about our product, they were really shocked that an African company is actually creating such solutions. They were shocked that we didn't have any white partners that were actually the ones creating the solutions. For ourselves, yes, and interestingly, I'll tell you that our sort of product, our sort of company can go to Europe and thrive. Our competitors that are there, who we have identified, we know that we can get into that same space, go toe-to-toe with them, and hopefully beat them at that game. So we are confident that we can thrive at a global level. But then again, we need to help our African businesses. We need to help our brothers. We need to help our sisters, so that they can pull up their socks, so to speak. They can thrive through our data-driven insights.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, we're talking to Paul on the Creative Industry Talk, and we're discussing the new France rather Africa-France relationship coming out of the Summit 2021. Paul was one of the people who went to Montefiore, and we're definitely going to be diving a little bit deeper to understand what went in that place, what went right or wrong, or what are the hopes that we can look forward to from that relationship that France is talking about. It's a new dawn for Africa. Let us choose Africa. Stay right there. We'll be right back after the break. This is Creative Industry Talk.
We can choose to teach what we teach differently. And for me, that's what I decided to do, even in the systems that there were. When I was in Makerere, my classes, I was very intentional on how I taught my classes. I opted to be a facilitator as opposed to a lecturer. Two, I allowed co-learning. We learn together. I am not the epitome of knowledge. If you have learned something and you think it's beneficial, let's share it. That's the second thing, that come to the realization that knowledge is not housed in one brain. Knowledge is God is gracious. Each one of us has a portion of knowledge about some of the things. When you trigger people to go and search, they will go. When you trigger people to sit back and depend on you, they will sit back. I'll say, trigger people to go and search. You will teach the same things, but the outcomes will be different. My final shot to those of us that are very passionate about education and want to change, when it is so painful with what you're doing, you'll do what I'm doing at Refactory. You'll choose to go against status quo. And I hope history will judge you fairly. When that time comes, I can say, yeah, I've trained about 300 people at Refactory. We've trained about, it's not only me, we've trained about 300 people at Refactory. We have about an average of about 70 to 83% placement. I can say I'm happy. I'm a very happy person because I know for a fact that the current placement rate for fresh university graduates is below 10%. So for me to be at 83%, yeah, I feel I can walk on the clouds, but I won't. There's still a lot of work to be done. Yeah. And so each one of us has an individual responsibility for those of us that are in the education space. Yeah. And hopefully, each one of us can then create that summative change that we need to see. Wow. Thank you.
Welcome back from that break. This is the Creative Industry Talk. My name is Eddie Okela, and of course this is House of Talent Television. We're talking about the Africa-France relationship. What does it mean for Uganda's creative industry and from the tech industry perspective? Tonight or today or this morning on the program, depending on which part of the world you're actually watching the program from, is Paul Charles Rukundo, the CEO of Smart Business Intelligence, and of course Kawa. We're going to get to know more about Kawa and what Kawa does. Paul, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Just before we went for a break, you were telling us about the creative solution that Smart Business Intelligence is giving to Ugandan, businesses, going forward. And I want you to just sum that up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you'll take us to Kawa.
Yes.
And how does this really fit into the conversation about the Africa-France new relationship?
Okay.
Yeah.
To tell you a bit or sum up some of the activities that we're doing at SBI.
Yeah.
Number one, we can be your tech partner. Sometimes companies might not know what they actually need or what some of their tech needs could be.
Yeah.
So we urge them to contact us, and we see how we can help them, how we can digitize some of their operations, how we can analyze their business operations so that they can complete their data universe, so to speak. But to bring it to simpler terms, at SBI will help digitize and transform your company by automating most of the operations, automating some of the processes so that number one, you know what's happening in your company and you can make your company profitable or more profitable. You can grow your company. And the other advantage of automating and digitizing most of those operations is you'll get aggregate reporting. You'll get proper documentation about your company and its operations, which means tomorrow if an investor comes in from France, for example, if an investor comes in locally, you can be able to give them this information, that SBI has collected for you for the last 6 months, last 12 months. Give them this data and they will know for sure that this is why I have to invest in your company and this is the profit that I expect. If you go to a bank, this information will be bankable because the bank can actually tell this is the profile of this company, this is what they're able to make, this is the profit they're able to make, and because of such insights as well, you'll go to a bank and be able to access a loan that you know you can pay off. Why? Because of our cash flow management software. Because of our ERP, you'll be able to know that I am going to take a loan of 1 million shillings. Ordinarily, a person without any data, they might go out there, ask for a loan of 20 million shillings, and before you know it, they can't pay it. They can't pay it off. Why? Because some of their insights are not data-driven. Some of their decisions are not data-driven. And this is how we can help companies. We have helped companies like Coca-Cola. We've helped companies like XSML, Balloon Ventures, who have invested in companies like Human Diagnostics. They have invested in companies like Medical Hub. It's a $3 million project that, an investment that XSML has put in place, and they're using our software to actually run the hospital, to run the investment, and the investor is able to see that this is what's happening at the hospital, and they're actually doing well and they're thriving. Then the other bit I can tell you about SBI is even for the companies that have got several other 10 systems in place, we come in and integrate all those systems that you've got. You've got different data sets, maybe 5, 6, 7 of them. We make that data make sense
for whoever is consuming it.
Even the board, even the CEO, even the person running the company, they can know that, okay, in these 5 subsidiaries that I've got, what do they mean? Are they, people will bring you reports this size, but what do they actually mean? The devil is in the detail. If you can be able to, if our AI can be able to aid you know what's happening in your company, then you know what to keep, you know what to cut off. So at the end of the day, we help de-risk the customers. Now, from the banking perspective, when you go to a bank, and we hope to start up our own fund soon, when you go to a bank, you're able to know that, okay, this company is performing like this. And because of that data that they've got, you're a less risky client than someone that just shows up there and says, I need a loan. Say, you need a loan, you know, for what reason? How much? How do you know that you need a loan of 20 million? Can you take it up? And these are the issues that